Okay, you all, there has been an extended time, and but because we're gonna keep this going, we have Dwayne T, and his topic is, let me see, what is it? History and
My history.
your history. Dwayne T. You see yourself?
I do see myself.
Right there you are. Thank you.
My name is Dwayne, and I'm a happy old ass addict.
All right.
Hey, Dwayne.
I'm happy to be here, but I'm very nervous. And I was told when I first came into recovery, if you ever come to the podium to speak or to talk, because I'm not a speaker, they didn't pay me to be here. I had to come here on my own. So I came here to give a talk about my history in Narcotics Anonymous. But before I do that, I got to qualify, because I was taught when I first got here, you have to qualify to let people know that you actually belong. So I'm in native Atlanta, Georgia, USA. I'm Atlanta born, Atlanta bred. When I die, I'm gonna be Atlanta dead. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't found no need to go nowhere. I found everything that I need, especially since I got clean right here in Atlanta. I go to my meetings in Atlanta. When I travel, I go to meetings in those cities. But somewhere around my late teenage years, I learned how to smoke cigarettes. I started smoking, and that opened the door to me to take a drink. Started drinking. Now I come from a family who has a long history of drinking. They're drinkers on both sides of my family. And I think my freshman year in college, my dad had told me, talking about drinking, and my father never told me not to drink. He told me what to drink. And he told me based on my complexion. He said, boy, you can't drink that white liquor. A white liquor bring the Indian out of you. So you got to drink dark liquors, bourbons and scotches and cognacs and stuff like that. I said, it's quite different from most folks' parents. Most my friends' parents was getting on about drinking. I was still sneak drinking, but my dad assumed or thought that I was probably about to get into it. So anyway, that's the first thing that I ever abused was alcohol. Somewhere in my college years, I was introduced to marijuana. Now, when folks say that marijuana is a gateway drug, I'm one who thoroughly believes that. Now, I don't know if it's a gateway to everybody or for everybody, but it opened the door for me to experiment with other things. And my experimentation with other things led me, through my best thinking, to Narcotics Anonymous. And that's how I got here, thinking. And early on in my youth, I was functional. I could go to school. I could keep late hours. I could perform in school. I had a job. I could go to work. I went into the military. I was drafted, and when I went into the military, things started to change, but I still was able to function. When I got out of the military and I came back to Atlanta, I decided that I wasn't going to do nothing I didn't want to do. It's kind of like me going to college. I went to college with an honest desire to do nothing, but I didn't want to go to school. And I graduated my high school class in the top 10%, but I didn't want to go to college. I went to college. I'm going to show you how I know the insanity of this disease was rampant in my life early on. I'm an only son of an only son. I don't have any siblings, but I used to climb out my bedroom window rather than go out the front door. So, the pattern of insane behavior was already there. It's true in my life that there was something wrong before I ever picked up the drug. There was something wrong with me way before that. But if you'll climb out of a window rather than go out the door and climb back in it at night, and your parents won't know, what? And I had permission to leave. I had permission to go, but why the hell are you going out that window? I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. But anyway, I went into the military and things opened up for me there. And I went over, I got into Southeast Asia, and they were doing heroin over there, and a lot of marijuana, a lot of liquor, a lot of other stuff, a lot of pills. And I tested everything. I tried some of everything. And I didn't know that I had acquired an addiction until I came back to the United States. And I didn't know how valuable or how treacherous what I was into was until I got back here. But anyway, I led to a long life, a long, arduous life of using. Okay. So I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous. Now I'm getting into my history. I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous for the first time in 1974. That was Narcotics Anonymous in its infancy in Atlanta. And it was up on the north end of the city. But what they were doing at that time, I was on methadone by then anyway. They were coming around to methadone centers, recruiting people who were on methadone to come to NA meetings. And I asked them, I knew what the other fellowship was because I had an aunt who had experience going to those meetings, but they were coming around and we had to attend weekly group sessions to stay on methadone. There were requirements, clean urine, go to group sessions, you know. But at any rate, they were recruiting people for Narcotics Anonymous. And I asked the question, being the genius that I am, so what is Narcotics Anonymous? And they told me. And I said, well, what do you do there? And they told me, you talk about your problems. So I said, my problem? You know, and in my head, you know, I ain't telling you for my business. My business is my business. Well, how can you help me by talking about dope? You know, so that's how vague my understanding was of what, you know, what it was all about. You know, plus it wasn't flashy enough. It wasn't, you know, wasn't this, wasn't that. And these folks looked like they was still doing drugs. They, you know, they were still kind of tattered, but they weren't using. I know their skin complexions looked different. I knew, you know, they talked differently, but they, you know, it just had no appeal to me. So I went to a couple of the meetings and I sat there and I sat in the very back of those meetings and I wanted no parts of that. And in fact, at that time, when you had to go up on the north end of town, the north end of the city, and we went to the North Side Clubhouse here in Atlanta. That was way up there off Buford Highway. That's a long ways up there. And you remember, you went up there. And when I got up there was only one other black person. Not initially, but after I got there for a little while. But anyway, I went to that meeting. And I sat in the very back. And I just hid and I listened to what they were talking about. And it made no sense in the world to me. It all went over my head. And they was all drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and hugging and, you know, backslapping and oh. So I got up and eased out. But it was something about that thing that triggered an interest in me. Plus, I needed to stay on the methadone program, so I had to go back because I had to get that paper signed. So I went back to one more meeting. And this time I was coerced into getting a white chip. They pushed me up front, and I went and got it. And that was the beginning of me collecting white chips. And when I would leave that meeting, I'd take that white chip and I would throw it as far as I could, you know, and it would fly like a frisbee. And I was putting distance between me and my recovery. I, you know, just didn't want any parts of it. So anyway, I went on and I kept doing what I was doing. I got put off the methadone program. So I said, I don't care. I went to the VA. They put me on the methadone program. In fact, they put me in the hospital. And there was a guy from over in Birmingham, Alabama that I met in the hospital. And he and I, both of us were veterans. We had both been in the same area in Vietnam, so we automatically budded up. And we broke into the pharmacy. And we had us a methadone draining good time. And they came in the room, and the rail was up on the bed, and my leg was hanging, and I was hanging halfway out the bed and nothing and slobbing. And he was in a similar state. We almost OD'd on methadone.
Mm-hmm.
We almost overdosed on methadone. In the hospital, where you're trying to get better. So that's the insanity of this disease and how different this and how you just doing something to mark time. That's all I was doing. You know, it was like I had a sentence, a jail sentence. You know, and I just wanted to do my 30 days and get out. I had no intention of staying clean. Well, I didn't have to worry about them 30 days because once they got us straight and got us physically back where we could, you know, in a couple of days, they put our behind out of that hospital. I've never been back to the VA for anything else since then. Never went back. I don't get VA benefits because I never went back. I just didn't go. Have not gone. And I'm sure that there's a check out there waiting on me if I would ever go, but I just have not been able to muster the courage to go back out there because there's still some underlying shame and guilt for what I did and how I abused something that was trying to, you know, put in place to help me. So I've never gone back. I've never gone back. I could have friends out there in the hospital and I won't even go visit. I'll wait till they come home or they'll move to another facility or something, but I will not go back in that place. And that's, listen, after 35 years, September 18, 1983, I had my last pill, Fixatrain. 35 years, and I've not gone back into any one of those facilities. You know, and I have people always encouraging me to go out there because you might be able to do this, you might be able to do that. I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just not going to worry about it. Through the grace of God, I was afforded the ability to, once I got clean, to get a job that took care of me, gave me benefits, and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty comfortable with the way I live today. You know, so I left that for somebody else. Some people say that's insane. It's yours. You ought to go claim it. You know, but everything that I think mine may not need to be claimed by me. You know what I'm saying? I'll leave it for the next guy. Somebody may be less fortunate than I've been and may need that, and I may be taking up something that could help somebody else out. You know, and in my insane thinking, that's how it is. See, I still have insane thoughts and I still do the same things. That's why I still come back. But in 1983, I was introduced to this program. September 18th, 1983, again, is my clean date. I've not found it necessary to use. And see, if I had stayed in the program or stayed around the program, because see, there's only two ways to be here. You can be in the program or you can be around it. And I was always told that those people around the program are the ones that fall off their head. They don't stay clean. Those people that come and get in the middle of the program, do service work, even if they never picking up coffee cups, sweeping the floor, emptying that. See, we used to smoke in every meeting. We used to smoke in every meeting. We didn't care whether it was, and we were allowed to. Churches, we smoked in churches and in sanctuaries. We smoked in church basements. We smoked everywhere because churches reached out to us and made us a part of their ministries. We had one meeting that was in St. Anthony's Catholic Church. And they allowed us to meet in the nursery. And we sat in the little bitty chairs that little people sat in every day. Now you're talking about humbling. You got to squat way down and sit in one of those chairs. The meetings were all held in spaces and rooms where you had to circle the chairs. Okay. Now, they have been doing that for years. In 1974, I remember, they were always sitting in a circle. And sometimes it was an inner circle and it was an outer circle, but there was always a space where nobody was looking in the back of anybody's head. And I found that to be quite effective. Because Because see, you get a chance to look directly in the face of the person that's sharing, and they get a chance to look in your face when you're sharing. You know, when you lined up in chairs and you're looking at somebody and you're sharing, you're talking to the back of somebody's head. So I'm accustomed to face-to-face recovery. That's the way I grew up. So in 1983, that was the last time, because I had several, not just 74, not just getting put out of the VA hospital. I had several attempts at trying to get clean, and I did one. I didn't come for myself. I came for everybody else. I came for my mama, I came for my wife, I came for my children, and I came for my job. I came for my job, even though I couldn't put in a 40-hour work week. You know, and I'm the kind of insane addict who, you work 24, you work 3 days, and you work 8-hour shifts, so that's 24 hours, but on Fridays, I wanted a 40-hour shift. You know what I'm saying? Because now I got to take some money home because I got to pay some daycare bills. You know what I'm saying? I got some other things to do, but I got a drug habit. So now I got to, you know, so I'm constantly trying to manipulate, but I could never find myself at work for 40 hours. I also found myself on that job in jail on a number of occasions. And that job was gracious enough to allow you to take a leave of absence, go do time in prison, and come back. Man. So that's where I come from. That's where I come from. So in 1983, it all changed. And primarily, it changed primarily because somebody very, very close to me joined narcotics, became a member of Narcotics Anonymous. And when they got clean and came back to the house, and we were living in my mother's house, came back to the house and told me that if I didn't get clean or do something about myself, I couldn't come back in that house. You know, my wife put me out my mama's house. And I ran to my mom and said, "You hear what she said?" And my mama got up. And she was still working at night. She got up. And yeah, and she damn right. You gonna have to get the hell out of here. So I went to recovery for the last time, September 18, 1983. And that's where my life started to change. That's where everything started to come full circle. Because see, in the back of my head, this insanity, I was gonna stay clean long as she did. And I got tricked. I got tricked. The ultimate trick was played on me. Because she never went back. I did everything I could. I talked about everything negative about this that I could. And finally, I kept coming and it started to wear on me. And, you know, it was another thing. I found out about, I knew I was a prideful person, but I didn't understand. I had studied egos and all of that stuff. And the ego, super ego. I studied all that stuff in school. But see, this is another strange thing about it. I was a psychology major. I was a political science major with a psychology minor. And I chose psychology because I knew I was complex, or at least I thought I was. I thought I was a very complex person. So I took that because I said, now if I can take psychology, maybe I can figure out what's going on with me. And they say the same thing. This is what I've heard on a number of occasions. A doctor who has himself as a patient has a fool for a patient. Same thing for a lawyer who tries to be his own client is an idiot. But see but I wasn't advanced in my thinking enough to understand that I wasn't able to diagnose myself. I needed somebody else to do it. And when I got to Narcotics Anonymous, people started to give me help with that. So in 1983, we were all attending meetings outside of the West End area. So quite frequently, when you went to meetings in those areas, you didn't see people that looked like you. So somewhere around 1985, 86, Narcotics Anonymous came to the west side of it. And that's where most of the African Americans, so you either went to the Highland Club or some scattered small meetings on the south side of town. Most of the other meetings, you were in the minority, but it didn't matter because the help was there. So in somewhere around 1986, let's see, I got 35 years, 32. Right around my 30-year recovery, we became an area, somewhere around there. I think it's 32 years, 32 years. Recovery came to the West End, and it was primarily African-American, all African-American meetings. And we started out with the West End group and the little bitty chairs. That was the first group. And we went from there to the Sundown. It's no longer in existence. That's another thing that bothers me. How does Narcotics Anonymous stop existing in any place? Because see, it only takes two addicts to have people. Only takes two. And some groups shut down because you don't get enough participation. I shot dope by myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sure I ain't the only one that once you got into it, you did this by yourself. So if I got somebody else with me and we doing this to maintain our sanity and our quality of life, how come I need a group? How come I need a crowd? So I've seen a number of groups go out of business. And I say business, the business of recovery. They fail to, they stop existing. They stop existing because they can't get enough people. Well, that's why you have, these committees and subcommittees in the area. They're supposed to come in and help you reestablish those groups. So there's no sense in my opinion. But the area started to grow. So prior to the area growing in Atlanta, and I'm speaking primarily of Atlanta before we became an area, and the area started growing, we were all attached to the Highland Club in the Midtown area. And they loved us because we were fundraisers. We had dances. We produced large amounts of money. We turned it into the area. And when the conventions came, we couldn't even get up on podium and read. Who's an addict? Nothing. We couldn't do anything. So the area was started out of a resentment. and see, I was told a long time ago by some old timers, it don't take but two things to start a meeting: a resentment and a coffee pot. That's all it takes to start a new meeting: a resentment, and you find one other addict that got that same or similar resentment and that blasted coffee pot, and you can start you a new meeting. It was a little bit deeper than that for us. And, we talk about not being political. But when the last time you've been to a business meeting in your home group and you don't see politics at work? When the last time you've seen them not divide on a certain issue or something that you want to do? I know I'm not the only one that sees that. I see it in my home group all the time. But the one abiding thing about all of that was, and still is, at the end of the meeting, you come together, you hug, and you say a prayer, and you go away. You see what I'm saying? So love, resentment will tear you apart, but love will put you back together. It'll put you back together. So I'm one of those people that 35 years of recovery, and I'm still going to meetings. I'm going to meetings because I need them. Because every day I discover something about me that needs to be worked on. Or maybe not every day, but quite frequently. So I don't know what I would be like, if I didn't go to meetings. Well, I do. Because I got a pretty good memory. I know what I'd be like. I don't even want to put that out there. Like, I don't know what I'd be like if I ain't going to be. Yes, hell, I do know too. I'd just be another insane person running around here. Old person running around here. Batshit crazy. Just out of your mind. People talk about clean and crazy. See, time ain't no panacea. Time don't cure all things that's wrong with you. You have to keep coming back. And you have to keep working on you, not the next person. I share in hopes that somebody will hear my message, and you don't have to hear the whole message. Just hear something in there that says, I can relate to that. And ask me, how did you get over that? Or how did you get through that? I don't mind talking. Talking is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Listen, in the streets, I didn't do a lot of talking in the streets. I had a lot of action. I did a lot of stuff. And then we have helicopters in we call puff, imagine training. Because you hit, and it's gone. Did the damage, you can raise your head now, But I keep going because it's necessary. I don't come to meetings so much now for me. I come for the newcomer. I come hoping that there's somebody new that wants to know. Because very seldom, I learned a long time ago, newcomer don't want to talk to me. I'm here 35 years. I got 35 years. Newcomer don't want to hear that shit. He can't figure out who wants to be clean that long. But you listen, and I know this from person. Back in the day, we had what they call 12 steps. 12 steps. You 12 steps somebody into the program. People who couldn't go to treatment, you went out and 12 stepped those people. That's what we call it, 12 stepping them into the program. You went out and you found these addicts and you talked to them and you get them to a meeting and hopefully something will happen. But what you do is plant the seed. It may not take right then, but you get them in and you show them. But see, I found this out a long time ago. Went out, my first 12-step adventure was with a group of folk. One person, I had 90 days, one person had 3 years, and one person had 5 years. And we sitting in this musty, dark room with this guy that had been getting it in for about a week because he had hit a lick. He had been out working. He had been steady. He had been doing whatever he did to get his money. You know what I'm saying? And he had been in that room for a week. Paraphernalia was everywhere. See, we took our lives in our hands going in them places, and especially me, 90 days. But I went anyway. And everybody, I'm sitting there and I'm scared to death because, I'm fresh. And all this stuff laying around here, it's looking like, ooh, oh, what have been getting? Them thoughts creeped into my head. So they were talking. The 3-year person did his spiel, the 5-year person did his spiel, and the guy kind of, man, shut the hell up. Man, tell me how the fuck you got 90 days. Because listen, 90 days was attainable for him. He could see a jumping off point. 3 years, 5 years, they lying. You got 90 days. Because I imagine my eyes are still bugged out my head. You know, I probably was still sniffling a little bit, you know what I'm saying? He could relate to me because 90 days did not seem unattainable. See, you could get 90 days in Atlanta for public drunk. They take you out to the stockade. You can do 90 days out there. You get out, then you get drunk again. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of time was unattainable to a brand new addict. But the shorter the time, he can relate to. So by the time you get them, and you get them there, and they keep coming back, we saw it time and time again. Because we used to do an ego building thing. When newcomers would figure out their white chip, we would start applauding from the time they stood up to the time they walked all the way back to their room, the back of their room and sat down. We applauded and we stood for the newcomer. We stood for them and we applauded. So for me, that was ego building. Look at me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we did those kinds of things to hope. We went to meetings together because didn't many folks have cars then. You know, when I came in the program, I had a 1977 Fleetwood Rome, burgundy with black tinted windows. You know what I'm saying? Most of us had bottomed out so badly that we couldn't afford bus tokens. We used to do things like, but listen, my car became an NA car. That's the history of Narcotics Anonymous in the day. You had a car after the meeting. You gave everybody that could fit in there a damn ride to wherever they were going. You had no questions. And we had a thing where we would go to Krispy Kreme donuts. And we would stand there. It was a 24-hour donut right there in the west end of Atlanta. And we would stand there and drink coffee and eat donuts till the folks would tell us to get the heck out of there. We did that. So if you had a job and you went to a meeting and it was your payday and folks was hungry, not only did you give them a ride, you gave them something to eat too. And you didn't look for no repayment. That was a part of what we did. That's the history of our company. See, this is the other thing that you must understand here in Atlanta. When we came into this program, and I'm talking about these people, the people that have recovery in the 30s, we had a bottom. See, we talk about your bottom doesn't have to be my bottom, but the most of us had the same bottom. We were like Humpty Dumpty, who sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And along came Narcotics Anonymous. And Narcotics Anonymous started to shovel our Humpty Dumpty butts up and put us back together as wretched and crooked as we were, and started to make us whole again. You understand what I'm saying? See, that's the significance of having Narcotics Anonymous and the history of narcotics. I don't know what it was like in other cities. I'm sure it was singular. But here in Atlanta, that's what we did. So I used to be very, very critical of the new, what I call the new wave of recovery. But I had to come back and understand, and a home group member sharing in a meeting made me understand the difference. Not good, not bad, just different. People that come into Narcotics Anonymous, a lot of them have not reached the same bottom that we did. Their bottom is different from ours. Because people are coming in with cars and jobs and homes. And that shit was unheard of when I got clean. We didn't have nothing. We didn't have nothing. If it wasn't for Fulton County Treatment Center, if it wasn't for the VA, and various meetings around the city, we wouldn't have had anywhere to go. The Highland Club was open damn 24 hours a day because they understood they allow addicts to sleep in there. They allow addicts to sleep in there because a lot of us back then had nowhere to go. And see, when I say my bottom is different or our bottoms were very different from new people's bottoms, there are still people that's coming in whose bottoms are hard. But I had to understand that. And see, I failed to realize that or see that earlier when I was being critical. And that's part of my insanity. I don't see me as I think I am. I don't see me as I am. I see me as I think I am. How great thou art. How far you've come. Glory, glory, glory. Oh, all of this. You see what I'm saying? All right. So, I don't know about nobody else. But see, I have to be, that's why I keep coming back. Because I have to be reminded and called down so that I can understand him. I am the creature and not the creator. I have a power greater than me who works in my life on a daily basis and continues to show me who I am. See, if you want to see a joke like I do, every now and then I want to see some. I don't need to hear these comedians. I don't need to see them. All I need to do is get to the nearest mirror and look at what's looking back. And that's so damn funny because after 35 years, I'm still here. I've not found it necessary to see, that makes me laugh all of the time. That lets me know that God of my understanding is active and he's still working through me. And he's working for me. And he works through other people to get to me. See, just 3 weeks ago, I heard my home group member share about the violence. And it brought me back to reality. See, everybody ain't got to hit it and be Humpty Dumpty. Some folks still got bounce. See, when I got here for the last time, I ain't have no bounce. I used my bounce up. See, you know when you got bounce, you can come to a meeting a couple of times and get. Let me tell you something else. You was right. Once I start talking, I don't know how to shut because this stuff is still exciting. It still makes me feel good. I also found out that one of the most dangerous things for any addict, but especially me, because I share to me, for me, and about me, good health is a dangerous thing for a dope fiend, especially a newcomer. Because when you come in here and that ass is dragging, and you sitting there and you can't hardly hold that cup of coffee, and you got more sugar and cream in there than you have coffee. Because you need that sugar to calm your ass down, and you're wasting it as you walk. See, y'all ain't got to agree with me. I've seen some of y'all when you brought your ass in here. When you sat out in them chairs and you could sit down, you had to keep moving. You see what I'm saying? But once you started to feel good again, that thing kicked in, and you think you can find it. See, the itty bitty shitty committee jump up on that shoulder and say, why do you keep coming to these motherfucking meetings? Why do you keep sitting there listening to that same old shit every week? Yeah. Same shit. They read the same shit over and over. Same shit over and over. Hey, Dwayne. My name's Dwayne. I'm like, hey, Dwayne. Why do you keep reading the same damn literature? Because maybe after 2 fucking years, you might start to understand what the fuck we're reading to you. That's why we do it. Repetition is what makes this thing work. You have to keep doing it over and over and over. Let me tell you something. On the way over here, driving over here, 3 motherfuckers was in my car. Me, myself, and I. And each one of them motherfuckers had a story to tell. Everybody wanted to share. So I got caught in the traffic right out there on Virginia Avenue, behind all them school buses. And I got a chance to think. And I let my window down. And I told two of them motherfuckers to get out. Thank you for sharing. And let the window back up real quick and made sure the doors was locked. You see what I'm saying? You can run behind me all you damn want to, but I'm going to this motherfucking meeting by my name. I am going alone. I don't need you. I'm going solo today. Because if I'm not careful, I'll bring all of those personalities up in here. And I have to decide which one is working in a positive for me. So I had to put them out, as I often do. I've been married since 1974. That's a lot of years, to the same woman. I worked on the same job and retired from it for 32 years. You understand what I'm saying? So I know how to do things with longevity. I just couldn't stop using dope for a long time. Then I got here with all of these other broken, imperfect people, and y'all showed me how to live. Not a perfect life, but a good life. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. The it is me. It works if you work it. I'm the it. I got to keep working on me. So now, when I encounter negative people in these rooms, and that will happen, because see, the book talks about uniformity. We ain't all supposed to look alike. Everywhere you go to meetings, they're supposed to be run the same. You know what I'm saying? Different things happen in different ways, you know. But it's all Narcotics Anonymous. But you have those people who have not fully accepted what it is about their personalities that causes them to cause conflict. Not with us, but with themselves. See, a person who is conflicted a lot, they act out. So when you don't react to that, when you just pat them on the back and say, we love you, hug them, you see what I'm saying? Sooner or later, one or two things gonna happen. They're gonna calm the fuck down and they're gonna get in the middle, in the center of the program. Or they're gonna just drift out and go away. It never fails. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes time. You have to keep being calm and patient with them and allow them to be who they are until they find out that what they're doing and the way that they're doing it is not destructive to me. It's destructive to them. See, it's just like a lie. Before I can tell Nita a lie, I got to practice that damn lie for 30 or 40 minutes. I got to say it over and over and over and over again before I present it. And then I forget it. And then when you come back to me and say, you know, you told me such and such, I did. See, a lie is hard to fucking remember.
Yes, it is.
A lie hard to remember.
Yes, it is.
You see what I'm saying? I done dropped that lie on you. You ain't forgot it. You gonna bring that shit right back to me and drop it on me. Why you saying something? No, I didn't. I get defensive. Yeah, you said that. But if I tell you the truth from the beginning, you can't fuck with the truth. The truth stands by itself. The truth stands on its own. And I learned all of that in the early days of Narcotics Anonymous right here. We had excellent teachers here when I got here. See, I came up in right here in Atlanta, sit down and shut up. Be quiet. I was in this program 6 months before they let me come. Just sit at the podium. Not be the damn discussion leader. Just to read or be, you know, pass out the literature. You could walk in a meeting now, you got folks less than 90 days sitting up there talking about being a discussion leader. I'm not critical of that. I just get them and get the fuck out of there. Because at 90 days, what the fuck can you tell me about staying clean? You can't tell me nothing about staying clean. Not in 90 days. I don't give a fuck what your bottom is. I don't know where your elevator stopped at, but you got 90 days in the process that I've been in for 35 fucking years. And I'm not saying I know everything, but I know you ain't got shit to share. That's what I know. I don't need no garbage. I can just step outside the door. But see, all the shit that Narcotics Anonymous primarily takes. You ever went to a meeting and it's an 8 o'clock meeting, and when you get there, it's 25, 30 motherfuckers standing outside the meeting, smoking cigarettes and talking shit. Come in and get a cup of coffee and go back outside. They ain't got shit to do with the cover. That's hanging around. See, that is hanging around. The people that are recovering are inside the room sitting down. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. They taught us here in Atlanta when I came in to get in the program. You got to get in the middle of it. Because if you just hanging around it, you just drop the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? It's about like back in the day, Christopher Columbus thought the world was flat. And if you went far enough, your ass was gonna drop off. Well, he found out that it wasn't. He came all the way from wherever he came from and went to Istanbul to say he discovered America. But that's some politics right there. But that's what happened to your butt in Narcotics Anonymous. Living for the conventions. You know what I'm saying? Live for your own group. Go to the convention, and then after a couple of days, it's kind of like what you were talking about. After a couple of days at a convention, a real recovering addict want to go to a real goddamn meeting. Because he tired of all this clothes changing. I ain't got nothing to, I don't want nobody to think I'm hating. I don't want nobody, because I'm not. But the person want to go somewhere where he can find what he's been accustomed to. So that's why, I used to hop on my home group all the time. Have a convention. Everybody go to the convention. Don't nobody want to open up to me. Don't nobody want to be at the home group. Well, that means got to go on. That means still has to operate. I don't give a fuck if the world's here. Because somebody that came here for the world probably wants to go to a real meeting. And I'm not saying, I'm still not hating. I'm just saying they want to go somewhere where there's some quiet and some calm, where they can express themselves. You know what I'm saying? Where there ain't no Def Comedy Jam and fashion show. They want to go where some. So we have to provide that. We have to do that. That's what I got from my foundation. John A., Ray S. When I met these folks, they had 10 years. They had come from California here. And I met them, they were coming through the VA. There was a group at the VA called the Navajo Group. They met on Mondays. The other thing that we did here in Atlanta, part of our history was when we first got up and running as an area, we never had competing meetings.
Yes, great.
You had a meeting on Monday, you had a meeting on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? But we were in the early formative years then. Once we started to grow, that's when there started to be more meetings. And I'm happy for that. I'm very happy, and I'm very proud of that. We had meetings, but we started out when the West End was first formed in Atlanta. We never had competing meetings. It was only one meeting on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, one on Friday, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. If you needed anything in between, you had to go to the Highland Club or out on the south side somewhere. But that's how we started. That's how we started. We had our first NA convention, West End convention, on Fulton Industrial Bay, Fulton Industrial Boulevard in a fucking basement of a hotel. They carved out some space where they stored some tables and stuff. But they didn't want us in the main ballroom because they wasn't sure. Time mixed up. Okay.
You had a few minutes.
Oh, how many?
About 5.
5 minutes. Okay. Well, that's enough. But I'm always pleased to come and share. And I think I'm very thankful that people think enough of me to ask me to do things like this. You know, I'm very, very pleased and happy. I'm honored. You know, it's a sad thing to have time in recovery and nobody wants to hear you share. It's for me, and that's not my ego speaking. That's just the truth.
That's the truth.
What's the value of having time if you can
Usually.
give of yourself, or people don't think enough of you to ask you? I appreciate you, Auntie. I really do. I love you, brother. Because you consider me. See, let me tell you something else. Old timers in the program are like, you know, they have these car shows. And people have these antique cars. They have these 55, 56 Chevrolets and all the Fords. They don't drive them. They just have them for show. And every now and then, they bring them out. So that's what I feel like as an old time. Every now and then, y'all trot us out. and let us run our miles and share some stuff with you. You know, and I'm always pleased. You see, listen, I have to keep coming to meetings. Because I have to keep seeing all the changes. See, basic tech, I still have, I'm going to say this, I still have my first basic tech. Basic tech didn't get to Atlanta. Now, I don't know when it left California, but it didn't get here to October 1984. And I still got my first basic tech. And very little of the literature in that book has changed. Prior to that, all we had was the white pamphlet. And they gave you the first one. And they dared your ass to lose it. Listen, them folks didn't play back in the day. Because see, it was a life or death situation.
Yes.
See, they didn't want your caustic, toxic ass coming around them using. They wanted you to be doing something so that you wouldn't jeopardize their recovery. That's how they felt about that. See all this pill swapping, and if your sponsor giving you day medicine to take, you need another fucking sponsor. Not only that, you need to call that motherfucker out. See, because we don't do stuff that endanger others' recovery. See, everybody's physiology is different. So you don't take somebody else's medicine. I didn't get on my mama about that. Her and her sister was swapping medicine. And Mom, would you take this around to your Aunt Emma? I said, why? Because she got the same thing I got. Oh, the doctor diagnosed over there? No, but I told her how I was feeling. She said she felt the same. Shit is that? See, we still doing shit like that in my cousin. I'm feeling this way. Let me tell you something else. It gets under my fucking skin. New, old, I don't give a fuck. Cause I know y'all ain't gonna have me to talk no more for another 35 fucking years. So I'm gonna fucking say it here, goddamn. Listen. I wish some motherfucker would come up to me, talking about giving me some goddamn medicine to take. You can't be my doctor. You got the same problem I got. One is good, two got to be fucking better. We suffer from the same disease. You I overprescribe. I mean, listen. I always shot too much dope. I always drank too much liquor. I couldn't smoke too much weed. That shit made me paranoid. I was like Marvin Gaye sitting at the goddamn Super Bowl thinking that the motherfuckers in the huddle at the football game were talking about me. See how great that was? I couldn't smoke it. I don't want to smoke it. But using it in this program is detrimental. That's detrimental. You can't do that, or you shouldn't do that. I'm the only one that can't do that. I can say that about me. I can't do that. I can't be around that. And if I know you doing that, I'm gonna say something. I don't care if you get mad. You can't threaten no more than I can. But you just can't do that. This is my life. And that's what these people believed when we first came around. Life was precious and that you needed to preserve it. And here's your way out. You're supposed to be drug-free one day at a time, not one day sometime. One day at a time. You're supposed to be clean on Monday and dirty on Friday and clean on Tuesday and dirty on Wednesday. And then the weekend done popped up, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you fucked up. Then you come back and you want to maintain the same amount of clean time that you had. Oh, I got 25 years. The fuck, I just seen you out there drinking your booze. The fuck is you talking about? You ain't got no clean time. But that's on you. That's on the individual. You just can't come around the way. For that, I'm truly grateful. I love Narcotics Anonymous. I love the fact that I get a chance to sometimes share other than at my home. If you haven't, you know, listen, today is a great day to be clean. And if you don't believe that, try not being clean. See, dope still kills. Thank y'all for listening.
Thank you.